All right, so this is going to be part 2 of the optimization updates coming out here on August the 14th. We had to break this video up into 2 parts again because there were so many changes that one video was going to be well over an hour long. This is going to be part 2, starting with the map optimizations. All right, next up we got some what they're calling survival optimizations. This first one in particular I'm pretty excited about because this is something that kind of annoys me at times in the game. They're adding an auto flashlight feature that activates in dark areas. So basically what this means is that when you transition from being outside to inside in a darker area, they're adding the ability for your flashlight to automatically come on. However, this may cause frequent brightness changes in certain scenes. If discomfort occurs, this can be turned off in the settings. That's good for everybody, right? Like a middle ground for those who want the auto flashlight, who don't, they added a toggle as well. Nice of them to be forward thinking on that. Assuming that it works well, it's something I'll be leaving on because honestly, the flashlight turns itself off all too often, I would say, especially if you're like getting off and on your vehicle and stuff like that. It'll automatically like turn itself back off. I would like to see this work for the vehicle too, if indeed it does not by default. It says dish formulas gained from recipes picked up in the wilderness will now carry over across seasons. The players won't need to reobtain them to make the corresponding dishes in new seasons. Duplicate recipes will be converted into the corresponding dish items. I assumed this was going to be the case anyway, but it's good that they're clarifying that this is the case, that recipes will function much like all the other recipes and blueprints and unlocks. You won't have to go and find them again. I think this is a logical thing. I'm glad that they're clarifying that. And if it wasn't like that, they've changed it, because I think most people would have assumed that's how it was going to work and probably would have been upset if it wasn't. So good on them for that. Characters under certain survival conditions that reduce movement speed, like low hydration or mild fractures, can now sprint at a reduced speed. This is a nice change. It was kind of annoying not only being your speed being slowed because like you fractured your ankle, but you also couldn't run at all either. Logically in the real world, that kind of probably makes sense not to run on a fractured ankle, but as far as like game mechanics, it was kind of annoying. So I'm pretty happy with this change. We've got some guidance optimizations coming in to make it easier for players to go about tasks. A new guide feature has been added. When players approach an objective, Mitsuko will appear to guide the player. This feature can be turned off in the settings by selecting weak guide mode. I'm not entirely sure what that means. If that just means like the main story quest, Mitsuko will come along and kind of be like, hey, go this direction, or hey, do this, or whether it means for like all tasks, including side tasks and things like that, she'll start to appear. For some objectives, this could be quite nice because sometimes it's a little confusing. I don't know if this is necessarily the first way I would have addressed the confusion, but it's a method, right? We'll just kind of have to see how this feels, whether or not it becomes like annoying or not. Again, they're adding a setting to turn it off if you don't want it, so that's good. Improved interaction experience for Rift Anchor related gameplay. Players can now see the status of all Rift Anchors on the world map and track their unlock progress from viewing monoliths on the world map. This is a good change. This is kind of just like a clarity thing, making it more obvious when you're looking at the monolith itself, how many anchors you still need. Some people very easily could have been confused about what Rift Anchor pertained to what monolith and whether or not they had gotten all the monoliths they needed. The only way to check that currently was to be at the very end of the story and have the option where it literally pops up and says you need X out of 5 or X out of 4 whatever monoliths. So you'd have to progress the entirety of the story up to that point in order to see how many more you needed. This will just make it easier to know how many Rift Anchors do I actually need. That way you can get those Rift Anchors before you even do the main story and go up to the monolith. So this is good. More information, more clarity. We've got some map optimizations coming in. says optimize map navigation so that players are now guided to the entrance of the monolith danger zone when tracking the monolith, rather than to the closest road to the monolith. This is a good change. Some of the monoliths were kind of confusing on where the entrance actually was and how to get into them. I think this is a pretty logical change. If you're going to navigate me to the monolith, then navigate me to the monolith, not to the closest road. So this will be good, especially for new players. Optimize the display priority of the securement silo icons on the world map. They are now displayed at the same time as the teleportation towers when zooming in and out. If I'm understanding how this is going to work, this is a good change as well. When it comes to zooming in and out of the map and trying to find securement silos, they are one of the more annoying things to locate in the world if you're not already pretty familiar with where they are. They didn't pop up on a high priority like some of the other icons did that you want to interact with a lot. It made it kind of hard to find them at times. Personally, I would like to see an optimized map with just more stuff down the side of the map that you can easily click on to zoom to locations. That way you can more easily mark stuff and find stuff just out of a I don't know what you want to call it, a sort of side navigation or accordion or navigation or something like that, and just put like things like securement silos, teleportation towers, stuff like that on the side that could be easily be clicked. But this is also a good change and is probably easier and less development time to implement. So this is also a good change on the way to optimizing the map. They have added some vehicle optimizations. It says fix an issue where vehicle territory facilities weren't correctly accounted for during season settlement. I'm not entirely sure what that means. I'm guessing it's talking about vehicle territory facilities, so it's stuff that you build on your vehicle. But I'm not sure what they mean by it wasn't correctly accounted for during the season settlement. Maybe it wasn't counting toward like your building count or something like that properly. Optimize the camera reset logic when reversing vehicles so it no longer triggers when the player looks toward the vehicle's rear while reversing. This is a good change. I mean, the camera flipping around when you're trying to do stuff is annoying. It says optimize the camera effects when switching seats in certain vehicles. I haven't done a lot of seat switching, so I'm not sure what that change is really all about, but probably a good thing, right? Added the option for players to allow friends to use their vehicles and platform trailers within their territory, among other facilities. So this sounds like they're adding the ability to give your friends permission to jump into your vehicle and drive it, and to access maybe facilities and stuff like that built onto your vehicle. I haven't done a whole lot of interacting with other friends like vehicles and platforms, but it kind of sounds like maybe they weren't counted in the normal permission stuff, and now they're either going to be or they're getting their own set of permissions, which seems like probably a good change. Players can now dismiss vehicles not owned by them within their territory. I have run into this a little bit where somebody has like left their truck within my territory or crashed it into the water near my territory, and I'm like, whose vehicle is this? And it just stays there like forever because there's nothing you can do with it. So this is a good change, you know, to get stuff out of your territory. It's not supposed to be there. We've got some world exploration optimization. Optimize the convenience of neutral stronghold shops, making it easier for players to locate the merchant at Tall Grass. The Tall Grass merchant is the one that's like a couple of levels up, sort of like off to the side. It was very oddly placed and very easily missable because it was very far away from all the other NPCs. So I'm not sure what they mean by that, as in like, did they move him perhaps? Doesn't really say. It just says optimize the convenience of the shop. I don't know if that means they moved him or not, but hopefully they moved him or something, because he was very oddly placed. 2, it says change the interaction key for whispers to H. Players can now customize this key in system settings keyboard common functions menu. This is a good change. The whispers were annoying, especially when they were all placed around an NPC or an objective you needed to interact with, and you interacted with whispers using F, the same key you used to interact with everything else. So you would get whispers when you didn't want whispers, you wanted to interact with the object. So putting this on its own key just made sense, and giving you more keyboard customization to be able to change that key also just makes sense. So this is just a good change all the way around. Adjusted the display limit for whispers within a certain range. This is kind of vague. I'm assuming they're saying they're adjusting it down so that there's going to be less whispers, but I don't know. It doesn't say whether it went up or down. Either way, I think there probably should be a way to just hide whispers if you don't want to see them at all. But, you know, fixing the keybind thing is a pretty big step in the right direction. Reduce the push notifications for low quality whispers. I'm gonna guess this means that if a whisper isn't getting upvotes and is considered, I'm guessing that would be considered like low quality, right? Nobody's upvoting it, nobody's saying it's a good whisper. It will display less often and won't be shown as much as relevant whispers that get upvoted. So all the more reason to upvote good whispers if you want to help the community out, and also to put some effort into your whispers if you want your whispers to show up. We got some social function optimizations coming in. Optimize in-game voice function, added an events channel, joining Stronghold Conquest, the Prime War, and Public Crisis events. Automatically switch to it for real-time voice chat with allies. After forming a team, in-game voice chat will now automatically switch to the team channel. Added the latest chat interface accessible by pressing enter and the microphone icon on the left side of the main interface. All of these sound pretty good. The in-game voice for me has been a little hit or miss. Sometimes it's very, very quiet. Sometimes it's okay. I'm not sure why, because I do have the voice like turned all the way up, but sometimes there'll be guys that are standing right next to me and I can't really hear them. So hopefully they continue to iterate on this and like work on this, because I think having in-game voice is good. And surprisingly, I haven't run into a whole lot of trolls or problematic people yet, but I'm also not on PvP. Other operation optimizations: added a translation feature for private chat, group chat, and the HUD chat channel. This could be good depending on how good it is. I'm not sure how it's going to work, whether you can just like click a button and auto translate it, or how that's going to work, but it could be good. Optimize the player info editing interface for a better user interaction. I'm guessing this means like your avatar and your avatar panel and stuff like that. It's getting some optimizations. Added a sharing feature to the deviation, mimetic specialization, weapon crafting, and mod refinement interfaces, allowing players to generate posters for sharing with others or saving locally. I'm not sure what that means. It kind of makes me think that what they're saying is that there's going to be a button you can click to quickly take a screenshot in order to share it with people. That's what I'm guessing. And if that's the case, I mean, that could be useful, right? Like if you're wanting to show somebody in the medic tree where a particular skill is or something, you can quickly take like a snapshot of it. If you're wanting to like show like, oh, I rolled a perfect deviation, or what a deviation does. Maybe you're a content creator, maybe you want to post it in a Discord, something like that. Same thing with like weapon crafting. You want to show like, oh, here's my weapon, here's the specializations and the mods and stuff I have on it, different things like that. That's what it kind of sounds like to me. Now, of course, you have out of game tools like ShareX and stuff that can do this as well. But it doesn't hurt to have it built into the game either for people who don't want to download third-party programs. So I'm just guessing that's what that means. Boss dungeons / securement silo optimizations. Slightly reduce the difficulty of the arachnid dungeon. I'm not sure what that means. Obviously that's vague. I didn't find the arachnid to be too difficult, but slightly reduced could just mean they lowered the HP on the egg or something. Not really sure. Optimize the audio effects in the empty house within securement silos psi, and reduced the empty house stats on normal difficulty. So they just kind of nerfed the empty house a little bit, made it maybe a little bit easier. We've got some Eternaland optimizations. Fix an issue where distant trees were not visible in Eternaland, so some distance LOD kind of stuff maybe being fixed. During the season settlement, if the space-time backpack is full, any excess items will be moved into a new temporary backpack. This temporary backpack will store items for 7 days. Unclaimed items after this period will be converted into astral sand. So this sounds like they're preparing for the end of the season. If potentially you're bringing over too many items and it overflows, they're going to give you a little bit of a leeway of like 7 days to dismantle some stuff into sand and move those items over if you want to keep them. Items sent from the space-time backpack to the season backpack will remain linked for 6 days. Added the ability to store linked items in personal storage crate. So let's see, items sent from the space-time backpack to the season backpack will remain linked for 6 days. Not entirely sure what that means. The space-time backpack is your backpack in Eternaland, and the seasonal backpack, I'm guessing, is going to be like the stuff you're bringing over into the new season. I'm not sure what it means by remain linked for 6 days. That puts me in the mindset of thinking that if you move something from Eternaland to your seasonal pack, that you can move it back within the first like 6 days and maybe get the currency back. Maybe that's what it means. Fix an issue where vehicle territory facilities weren't correctly accounted for during season settlement. This is what we kind of saw up there earlier as well. Still not entirely sure what that's referencing. Fix an issue where distant trees were not visible. Looks like they put that in there twice. We have some trade optimizations. When items are sold through the vending machine's exchange mode, the earned items will no longer be sent directly to the seller's backpack. Instead, they will be stored in the vending machine's storage space. Sellers can interact with their vending machines to collect their earnings. Developer note: previously, items you obtained from the vending machine would be sent directly to your pack, which would cause you to become overburdened during exploration or combat and unable to run. This update adds storage space to the vending machine. Now, when items are sold, the earnings go into this space, and players can interact with their vending machine to collect their earnings. This feature currently applies to vending machines within the territory, and it will extend to vending machines on pickup trucks and heavy platform trailers in future updates. So this is a nice change, right? Instead of just rocketing items into your inventory while you're in the middle of exploration, they're now going to sit in your vending machine until you go and pick them up. Some other optimizations: and increase the scan range of space-time, which is your Q. That's your Nintendo Switch snap that you do. They're going to make it have a bigger range, so I guess I'm okay with that. Adjusted certain survival conditions that reduce movement speed, like low hydration or mild fractures, allow characters to sprint. So again, we saw that earlier. And then just a spattering of bug fixes for a lot of different things. You know, I won't go through every single bug fix here, but you know, you can kind of see those on the screen if you want to pause the video and go over some of the individual bug fixes. So with all of that, I think we have finally come to the end of this just massive amount of information that the Once Human developers have dropped on us today, broken apart into multiple updates, releases, seasonal changes, new events coming, fishing changes. I mean, just like there was so much here that just popped out in the last 24 hours. So I know you guys are going to be getting a lot of video notifications from us today, a lot of content to be covered. Hopefully this is exciting news for most of you guys about lots of good changes, bug fixes, optimizations, new content, seasonal clarity, all kinds of stuff coming. As always, if this video helped you out, please consider dropping a like and maybe subscribing to the channel to support the content we make here. We're going to keep making this content for you guys. If it is stuff you enjoy, and liking and subscribing is the best way to let me know that it is content you want to see more of. And as usual, on these optimizations, let me know down in the comment what optimizations you're most excited about. Are you seeing some changes here to your particular build weapon that you're excited about? Are you a Jaws user? Are you excited about the Jaws changes? Are you excited about some of the changes like the flashlight auto toggling like I am? Maybe even the range of space-time being increased is pretty exciting for you. Are you one of those people who is impacted by the trade items jettisoning itself into your inventory and filling up your inventory all of a sudden? You know, let me know down below what changes here you're excited about, maybe what changes you don't see here that you would like to see, so that we can continue to give good feedback to the developers and let them know, hey, good job, but here's some more stuff that we still want to see, so that they can get work on the next round of big patches for everybody. Thank you guys for all your support as always. Hope you guys are enjoying Once Human as much as I am, and as always, happy hunting out there.